This is BBC One. Oh, no, it isn't.
Pantomime is a great British tradition. In fact, millions of us will go to see one this year, and going to a panto is probably the first time any of us ever go to the theatre. Well, this is a behind-the-scenes story of one particular panto, and its dramas both on and off the stage. Meet Dominic. He is the writer, director, producer and indeed star of this year's pantomime Goldilocks and the Three Bears. In the next 2 months he's got to cast an £85,000 production, find 30 children to perform in it, 5 actors and make sure it, more importantly, he doesn't lose any money. I get to feel?
Yeah, go on.
Oh, they're not bad.
They're my lucky ones.
They're boob job ones.
Yeah, they're my lucky ones.
Too firm.
It's only the second bra in 13, 14 years of doing it, but the stuffing's the same.
Oh, really?
I have bought
The second bra?
the second bra I've got through. I wore one out after about 7 or 8 years.
Right. What's this bra made of? Because
No, it's just a real,
It's just
real bra. And I even got the
real
bra
bra.
from the same woman who gave me the first one.
Really?
And the stuffing got transferred. Yeah, we're very superstitious about that.
Really?
Yeah, very.
Well, it lasts. It's a great advert.
Yeah.
If not for you, for the bra maker.
Hello, boys.
I'm not so sure. I've been wearing the same bra for 10 years. I'm not sure how that goes. But it's good for the bra makers. Having sorted his underwear, his first major task is to find the right actors.
We need everything. We need them to be able to act, sing, dance. And it's hard work, panto. It's great fun. It's Christmas, everyone's having a ball, but you work very, very hard. Over the course of 2.5 hours, you do everything. In Goldilocks, I was looking for someone who has spirit. You too often go and see principal girls and they're wet. They just stand there waiting for the hero to solve all the problems. It's very rare for a principal girl to drive the story of a pantomime. Obviously, Goldilocks and the Three Bears, the clue's in the title. It's about Goldilocks. And I was after spirit. A feisty, independent, young girl that actually the kids can identify with.
Dominic's been a Dane for years, but this is the first time he's taken a stake in the show. There's a real financial risk here, and he could lose thousands of pounds if it's not a success.
It basically means that I'm 60% responsible for the loss if it loses, and I take 60% of any profit that it makes. The bottom line is with this show, as I'm sure you'll find out over the oncoming weeks, is that we can't make that much of a profit because it's all ploughed back into the actual production. We pay our actors fairly, we pay designers fairly, we spend a fortune on set and costumes, far more than we should for a 280-seater. It's madness, really, but it's just that I believe in it so much. So ironically, probably all I can make is about 10 to 12, and that's if it sells out capacity. I could probably only make 10 to 12,000 at the most.
Theatre is by definition a labour-intensive business. Labour is in fact all you've got. Lighting designers, costume designers, that's to say nothing of the actors themselves. And all of that is very expensive. In fact, this production is going to cost £85,000. And the actors just take a small percentage of that. In fact, some £17,000. The set costs £6,000. The costumes cost £6,000. And fantastically, the administration and marketing costs £27,000. And they've got to make that back. In fact, they've got to be 3/4 full just to break even. And that's before they make any profit at all. And that is not easy. Now, these are the sales figures that Dominic as producer needs to get every single day. The key point he's looking out for, he's got to sell about 220 seats for every performance just to break even. And this is keeping track. His first performance he sold 250. He's making £1,600 out of that. But if you look down, some of these shows really are not doing well. 98 seats sold, 73 seats sold, 51. There's one show, he's only sold 35 tickets. He's got to sell 220 just to break even. And that's not his only problem. Even when he's sold out, his first show is a school performance. He's making £1,500. An adult performance later on is making over £5,000. So doing the kids shows is great for the community. It's part of what the Panto is about, but it is ruining his budget. Right, I'm a long way from the theatre. We are somewhere near Warwick, and I'm looking for the costume designer Chrissy, who's on a boat, which is her workshop and home, and the boat is called Lamplighter. Where I'm going to find her. Chrissy? A canal? You know where Lamplighter is? Yeah. Oh, we're there! It's going to be a bit cramped. Oh my goodness.
Did you find it okay?
We found it fine. We found it fine.
Okay, come and sit down, Adam.
Okay. This is your bed.
This is the bed stroke sitting
Is that
area.
your side of the bed? I'll sit on this side of the
Yeah,
bed.
you're fine.
What's the cat?
This is Jim the cat.
Hiya, Jim. I'm not sitting on any of your dresses.
Well, a bit, but don't worry.
All right, so how come you live and work on a canal boat?
Oh, well, I just like it, you know.
Yeah.
You can move it around if you want to.
It's not the most convenient thing, is it?
It isn't the most convenient thing when you've got 60 Panto costumes to sew up.
No. I mean, how are we doing on the costume front? We've got a couple of weeks to go.
Yeah.
You've obviously got some made up. We've got 1, 2, 3,
Yeah.
4, 5, 6, 7 here.
Yeah,
How many have you got to do?
60.
60
Or at least
costumes?
60.
Blooming hell. And how's it going?
Well, I've made a start on all of them. I've got something to do on every single one, though, I think.
Right.
So I've got to have a really busy week this week.
What's your biggest worry at the moment then?
Biggest worry? Well, just getting everything done in time, because, you know, everything's got to be done by the opening day.
Have there ever been any huge problems? Are you backstage on first night or costumes falling apart, or are you sewing at the last
Do you know
minute?
what? I've never sort of stopped work before 5 minutes before a show. I'm always doing something right up to the last minute.
So we're going to see you in 2 weeks' time. Just the
Pulling my hair
audience are going in. You're desperately sewing.
Yeah.
What's fantastic. Do you want to give us a tour around the rest of the boat?
Sure.
Show me your headquarters.
Okay,
All right.
come this way.
Thank you.
So come this way, Adam. This is where I do my sewing.
Right. This is
And-
the workshop.
Yeah, this is the workshop.
Right.
Very spacious, as you
Yes.
can see.
Oh, fantastic.
So,
2 machines now.
yeah, this is an overlocker.
You see, and I was going to impress
Sorry.
you by knowing the name. In fact, I think I got it wrong. I think I was going to call it an interlocker. But,
Really?
so I almost knew. What does it do?
what it does is, I'll just give you a little demo. It cuts and it sews. You see, and that comes up nice and neat.
Oh, nice.
And it's
But also, it's
quite
done
strong.
more than sewing, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It's given it a whole finish. Have you ever been tempted to wear one of the dresses and just drive the boat down the canal?
No,
No.
we can give it a go. if
Well,
you
do you
like.
know what? I mean, I'm amazed you're not tempted because I've only been here 10 minutes and I'm very tempted. There we are.
Sorry. I've tried
Oh,
to
what
push him in.
fun,
I've tried to
madam.
push him in loads of
Yes,
times, but
well,
he's
you
hanging
just
on.
stick to yourself. You said you'd never dress up in one of your frocks and go down the canal. Are you more tempted now?
No.
No. I think it's strangely liberating. While things seem to be going well here, there's a new fear with difficult news for Dominic.
Well, I've had a health scare. It's quite a serious one. I've had a lump in my mouth on my hard palate, getting bigger really over 2.5 months. I assumed it was an abscess because I did actually have a broken tooth. And I also did that thing which we all do. You bury your head thinking, oh, it'll go away, it'll go away. And very often as an actor that's even easy to do because you're always going away to work. So you've always got an excuse, oh, I can't get to the doctors this week, I'm in Edinburgh, I can't get to the dentist. And I finally went because the pain was becoming unbearable. And it was actually affecting my speech. It was that big. And they now have fears that it might be a lymphoma. And I get my results the Thursday of the first week of rehearsal. which leaves another, actually that's 2 weeks to the day before we're supposed to open.
3 weeks to go to opening night, and they're spending like mad. The set's been designed, it's now being painted, the posters have gone up, reams of fabric have been bought for scores of costume changes, but they've still not sold enough tickets to break even. Well, we've left the highlight of Hounslow for the bright lights of Isleworth and their rehearsal rooms. It's Saturday morning. It's about 9 o'clock. They're rehearsing, and I'm told that they haven't all learnt their lines yet. We'll see.
Ah! The money! It's gone! It's gone! Thief, robber, bandit, burglar. Tabs in. No idea what my line is. I'm making up the girl. Jerry, someone's stolen the money.
Eh?
Tommy, someone's stolen the money. Goldie, someone's stolen the money. Oh, I'll do mad in a minute. Gang, help me. Someone's stolen the money.
What? That's what we've been trying to tell you.
The money in the honey pot. All right, okay, I'll just check it. You've been dreaming just one dream nearly all your life. Scheming just one thing. Will you be my wife? Or will you be something back to the top of the number?
I'm supposed to be meeting my mate Tommy. Have I told you about Tommy? Well, he's a tightrope walker, and he's the bestest best friend in the whole wide world. Of course, he's not as good looking as I am, or as strong as I am, and he'll never be as brave as I am.
Boo.
Hello.
Does Hannah lift you?
You are, yeah.
Oh, God.
Excuse me. Hello, Tommy.
Hello, Jerry.
I was just telling the boys and girls about you.
So I heard.
Anarchy runs mad with the Dame. She can say almost anything. She can get away with anything as long as they love you. If everybody doesn't love you, you've blown it. I think. And you can't lose, really, because the mums love you because they think you're on their side. Even though you're a broken of rock, they think you're on their. The fellas love you, the fathers love you because they think you're on their side, because underneath the frock you're a fella and you don't pretend that you're not a fella. And of course the kids love you because you're silly and you wear lovely outfits, colourful outfits and just... but it is warmth first and foremost.
Dominic's dame, Sadie Spangle, is actually part of a long British tradition. Pantomime is part of Christmas. But how did it all start? Well, it's very difficult to say when pantomime actually began. That's because there are elements of panto in the earliest forms of theatre. This fight between good and evil, you might say, even goes right back to the medieval mystery plays. Then good and heaven are always on the right, with evil and hell on the left. Now, if you watch closely, that's a tradition which most pantomimes still keep alive today, with the goodie entering from stage right and the baddie on the left. But modern panto, which of course is as British as it comes, actually came out of an Italian theatre form which was called commedia dell'arte. The commedia style was of exaggerated acting, singing and mime, and had a standard group of characters, the most famous and enduring being Harlequin. And in the early 1700s, the most famous Harlequin of the age was John Lunn. And because of the great success of John Lunn's productions, his rival, the great actor-manager David Garrick, felt forced to produce his own productions, and they happened right here at the Theatre Royal, Drury Lane. However, the big difference was that whereas John Lunn's Harlequin mimed, the Harlequin in David Garrick's production spoke. Once the actors began speaking, the next step towards modern panto came with the arrival of a clown.
Joseph Grimaldi made the clown the central figure. Harlequin had been the star of pantomime, but in the early 19th century, the clown becomes the star. And Grimaldi was hugely popular with audiences. He introduced many of the things that we consider standard in pantomime today. He had his own catchphrases when he came on, singing "Here We Are Again," and he had his own popular songs which the audiences would join in on, songs like Hot Codlins or Tippity Witchet. A rather anarchic character, the clown, not necessarily the friendly, kindly clown, a clown that was forever stealing sausages or stealing beer from the night watchman, using red hot pokers to attack soldiers, policemen or figures of authority.
Special effects were really important in pantomime. They had a transformation scene right at the centre of the play, and you can see just how important they had become. This mock-up of the stage at the Theatre Royal, Drury Lane. You can see just how many trapdoors they've got there for catapulting actors on and off the stage in a puff of smoke. And even in today's high-tech modern theatre, the fun routines still rely on traditional gags, slapstick and visual tricks. Dominic's biggest challenge is doing this in stilettos, a dress and a wig. Of course not one to try at home.
Round of applause if you're lucky. But I'm holding a piece of wallpaper at the same time.
The journey towards the kind of pantomime we're used to today continued with the part of the principal boy being played by a woman. This is where sexy legs came in. Thanks to the artistic licence of the theatre, respectable Victorian gentlemen could enjoy a goodly flash of female flesh. And nobody's shapely legs were more famous than those of Madame Vestris. What on earth would the Victorians have made of Sadie Spangle? It was in the 1880s that we started to see a shift into something that we would today recognise as pantomime. And a lot of that was down to a famous producer called Augustus Harris, who brought in the famous music hall stars of the day into pantomime, right here at the Theatre Royal, Drury Lane. And this is a programme from 1881 for his production of Robinson Crusoe. There his name is right on the front page. And in fact, it's a lot better than the programmes you'll get today. There's Robinson Crusoe and these fantastic shots of the whole play going on there. Now, I challenge you to find any programme in a modern panto that shows you anything as good as that. Harris brought in the stars of the music hall like Vesta Tilley, Gus Elan and Mari Lloyd. They brought with them the audience participation and the naughty seaside comedy that's a hallmark of today's panto. And they were well paid for it, earning around £100 a week. That's over £6,000 a week in today's money. But by the late 1800s, the final ingredient in the modern panto mix was about to be added: the dame.
At the end of the 19th century, the key man in pantomime was Dan Leno. He made the dame the most popular character in the story. And it's interesting because although throughout English theatre history men are dressed as women for comic effect, one of the things that Leno established, particularly in pantomime, was that the dame was a three-dimensional character. Vain, flirtatious, coquettish, but ultimately a very warm-hearted character, the friend of the audience, and able to stand up for her family if she needed to in stories like Mother Goose or Jack and the Beanstalk.
So, pantomime as we'd recognise it today was around over 100 years ago. But surely in the 21st century, with television, film and indeed computer games to enjoy, pantomime can no longer hold its own. In fact, it's been said the attraction of panto is no longer what it used to be. They've had their day. Also said a critic in 1846. Reports of the death of the panto have clearly been exaggerated.
Right, the V, please.
The children are mainly from the local area, and for some it's their first appearance in front of a fee-paying public. For choreographer Stephen Harris, it's a challenge to get them up to performance level.
Here we go. And smile. I couldn't care less if it's the worst thing you've ever done in your life. I don't want them to know that. The best thing you've ever done. And this is centre, guys. Over, over. 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2. Why are you pulling the V over there? Keep it coming down. Again, in. 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6, 7, 8.
What's all this about?
It's a colouring competition.
Right.
It just puts me in my place.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
What do they win?
A family ticket for the panto. Bless. But I love those swords. I don't want to give it to the like, look at that.
Yeah.
Could you not give?
Thank you very, very, very much. Thank you very, very, very much.
Well, this is Stephen, the choreographer's last day. There are in fact only 4 or 5 days left before they go on
And I've got to tell you, just dance-wise, it doesn't look like the show is ready to go at all. In fact, it looks like someone's just injured themselves anyway.
What numbers are you hoping for?
We broke the 8,000 barrier.
8,000 tickets sold.
Sold.
How many tickets left would that mean?
A complete capacity is about 14,000. We're still not at break even.
You sold 8,000, and what would you hope for right now? The figures coming out now.
It's only a half day at the box office. I don't know.
Go on.
100 seats in the morning would be lovely, but there's no way it's going to happen.
So
I'm going to guess it's 62.
62 more seats
62
sold.
more seats. Does that tell me how many were sold today?
It should do, yeah.
I can't read it.
It's all just, I don't understand what we're looking at. It looks like minus figures there.
We're very nice.
That's
We allow people to change their seats. 10, 19, 22, 25, 29, 39, 41, 44, 48. That doesn't count as a school's bookings, it's just paid. 59, 61, 62, 65, 66. Which in 3 hours of a box office being open is actually quite good. You know.
Not bad. Happy?
In a 3 hour period, yeah.
Yeah.
But obviously it's got to,
Sure,
it's now got to crank up, yeah.
So 66 seats, 67 seats this morning.
In 3 hours, yeah.
Yes, in 3 hours.
I'm going to keep saying that.
Yes, 67 seats in 3 hours, but you've still got, we're talking about 3,000-4,000
Oh,
seats
to break
to
even,
sell.
yeah, I mean, we're talking, we need another 3,000.
Everything's green. Know what I mean? Darling, it's quite the sweetest sight that you ever done seen.
Well, I mean, this is your last day. I mean, we
Yeah.
are now 20 minutes away from supposedly the end of this rehearsal.
Yeah,
And that's it.
that's it. I
And
know.
it didn't look to me as if all those dancers were ready to perform.
No, they're not. They're not.
Right, so what
What I'm going to
happens
do,
next?
what I've got is Goldilocks and Tommy, the two Hannahs, to look after the show for me. So they clean it, they get the kids on their own in their separate groups. They really hammer the dance numbers into them, make sure they're cemented.
Every which way. Buttercup sway.
And I suppose if they're enjoying it, if they mess up the steps anyway, it's all good fun.
Well,
If they keep smiling.
I mean, yeah, but it's a paying public. They're paying to see a good show and a good standard, and that's what we want, a good standard of show.
There are people, leading people, everywhere.
They know that backstage is health, safety. They've got to be there, they've got to be on, they've got to put 110% commitment.
Did you get that from them?
We do when we get them on there. I mean, and we have to really nail it into them to get it to that standard.
Car crash. That number just doesn't get any better. Now I'll talk to the kids. It's the opening number. A coach party's just left. What have I told you about that number? You've got to feel like it's the bestest number in the world, haven't you?
Okay, Hugh, come over here because we've got some of the more important people, but none of them are on stage, are you?
No.
Now, your mums and dads are of the child actors. I mean, why did you want your kids? None of these kids are professional, are they?
No.
So why did you want them to be involved?
It's a wonderful way of spending Christmas and putting, some of those skills that you are learning at dancing into action.
Well, I mean, it's interesting you say it's a wonderful way of spending Christmas because it's quite tough. I mean, we heard Dominic sort of shouting at them, saying, shut up, sit down, do this. It was really quite rude, really.
Yes,
that's the word for it. And they didn't respond badly. They responded quite well to that. But is that something to put them through during Christmas?
Oh, I think so. They love it. Yes.
Be better than setting to rest on a little patch of heaven way out west. It started off quite well, to be fair, and then you died a death. I really cannot bear to hear or see one more note of that number.
You're going to be there going,
The first performance and last performance I go to.
you cry? Or you're hard mother?
Nearly.
There's some funny swaying going on.
We must be doing it at Easter because it was crucified.
Yeah.
Chocolate milk.
You're about, I think, what, about 36 hours or something away from opening night now, aren't you?
Yeah. And we're not even halfway through the show yet.
And how ready do you think it is?
Not as ready as I'd like. I've been in productions that have been further on than this. I've also been in productions that have been way behind us at the moment.
And how did those productions that were way behind you go?
That's the one where I nearly killed people. Ended up cutting nearly all the set in the second half. My cast almost walked out. They were under so much pressure. We're not at that stage yet. We're not at that stage.
It's 3 o'clock. What time is this going to finish?
3 a.m. of course.
3 a.m. Another 12 hours. Well, that'll
You brought your sleeping bag.
I brought my sleeping bag. 12 from 36. What's that? 24. Yes, 24. You'll have 24 hours left then.
Yeah.
Very nice. I'll see you in 12 hours. Hello? All decent? What a shame. If I keep coming in, if I keep coming in one day, will I catch you? One day more. Anyway, what are you doing? Just sewing your ballet shoes.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm hard at work reading magazines.
Reading the Radio Times. It could have been so much more embarrassing than that, couldn't it? You know what? One thing that really struck me right from the beginning, in fact, was that it's such a small theatre. It's not just it being small. I mean, there's no stage.
Yeah.
And that the kids and the audience that are all there, is that a bit bizarre? Is that harder to do, or you've got to do differently than you would normally?
Well, we were talking about this earlier, and we were saying it is weird actually being on the same level as the audience and only being almost 1.5 meters away from them. But it does make it more intimate, doesn't it?
Yeah, and definitely with the style of show, like pantomime is, you participate with the audience so much anyway that it actually helps in a way, doesn't it, when you're saying, all boys and girls, it's nice that they're so close.
And how annoyed are you both at Dominic not finishing the script yet?
It's not so much annoyed, it's the fact that we open
You hope what?
We open on Thursday.
I know, 36 hours, no script yet.
And it's quite difficult because, I mean, it has been actually...
Yeah, so cut to the chase. Scale of 1 to 10, how annoyed are you?
7.
Yeah, right. Guess who's not in next year's panto? Well, while the actors are preparing on stage, backstage around here, come over here, Hugh, mind yourself. The dim light, here, the set designer, maker, everything, is that right?
It is.
Do you do I mean, you designed it as well, didn't you?
I did.
And you're building it.
Oh, I did. And why I designed it, quite so complicated as anyone's guess.
I mean, how long did the whole thing... Look at this individual little sequins being put on there. How long is it taking to build? What is this?
This is merely a cupboard in Sadie Spangle's house.
That's all.
Everything has to be spangled up beyond belief.
Just a monument. I'm sure our Goldie closed that cupboard door.
How long is the whole process taking you here?
About 7 weeks of solid work.
Right.
7 days a week, sort of solid, morning to night.
And is it all ready now? Apart from this cupboard, how much is there left to do?
Everyone always says when you're going to be finished, and I say about a minute before we open.
Is it really like that?
About paint drying. Yeah.
And they're still singing.
And they're still singing.
But
How's
that's
it going?
because, did you hear the note? One of them just hit.
Yes, I know. They need a bit of rehearsal. How's it going?
It's all right. It's all right. We've actually finally hit the... can I go and look at my costume as well? Is that
look at your costume.
right? We've hit... guys, can you clear? Thank you. Can I just get through here? Thank you. Right. On the go.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, look, prop table.
Yes, I know. Very nice.
They... We're at the halfway stage now, which
means what?
We've actually done Act 1, teched, but we haven't finished it. We haven't really teched every bit of it because there's You know, we haven't done a sound check yet. There's the odd change that we just couldn't do because not everything's ready. So we're about to start Act 2. Act 2 is shorter, but at the moment, of course, Act 2's script is entirely handwritten by me, and I haven't got time now to put it into a computer, so they're just going to have to try and read my writing, which, of course, I'll get complaints about over the cans. How do you expect me to read your writing? You know, all that kind of stuff. I mean, it is all coming together, but it's, I mean, this wasn't...
Is that a set of curtains?
No, that is my train.
How wide are they?
It's my train.
How wide?
How dare you? How dare you? I've been losing weight since August for this role.
So when we spoke a while ago, you had a health scare, and that was going to be quite serious because you said if you couldn't do the show, you would become bankrupt.
Yeah, it's now become more serious. It's quite a big problem with my mouth. a lot of my friends say that. No, it's quite a big problem with my mouth that is going to require surgery after the panto. They're going to have to take some of it away, and so obviously the repercussions of that as an actor are probably going to reach long into the future. At the moment, it's just about getting this on.
Opening night, they're still thousands of pounds short of making a profit, so a lot is riding on tonight's performance. It's very physical for all of you, and especially you. You've got umpteen changes, but
the spirit of the piece keeps you going. I think it's like a roller coaster.
Is that right?
Do you think
the spirit of the piece keeps you going?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yes.
I'll shout him if not.
Oh yes. Oh yes, it is.
Oh yeah. No, it's a roller coaster, isn't it, everybody? Once you're on it, it doesn't stop. That's the nice thing about it being a small cast. Actually, you have the big commercial pantos. People get like 5 minutes every half an hour, but this. As you see, no one stops for 2.5. And 2.5 hours goes like that if you don't stop.
It's as if we're almost there. The Teddy Bear's picnic begins. There it is. Daddy Bear's pop round the scenery, enters, beckons to offstage, and Mummy Bear enters. Then she beckons and Baby Bear jumps in. Daddy and Mummy look round cautiously, but Baby Bear is curious about everything. Suddenly he stops and sniffs. He sniffs Daddy. I thought it was importance of the full stop.
Daddy.
He sniffs. Daddy and Mummy also stop and sniff. Baby Bear follows the scent, sniffing around the caravan until it leads him to the cupboard where the honey jar is stored. He jumps up and down with delight. Daddy Bear crosses to the cupboard, opens the door and removes the honey pot. The three bears are delighted. Sadie chunders in her sleep, whatever that is. The bears freeze, and Sadie is quiet again. Daddy Bear signals for them to be quiet. He points off stage and they all creep out. The music ends. Another moment, and Sadie wakes dramatically, as if you were there. How many costumes down?
Oh, I didn't say that.
That was a rip song, wasn't it?
There's a few more after this.
Oh, right. Nearly there. How many costumes in the whole show?
12, 13.
12.
Yeah, 12.
10 down.
That's not good.
Might you need emergency surgery on that hand? Cut it. Cut it open.
This actually is a serious problem.
How long you got?
Come on, Shelby.
Well done.
Did you get a wolf whistle, Adam?
Huh?
Did you get a wolf whistle?
I think so, didn't you?
But no change still in it, has it?
I thought a gorilla head and it fell off. I couldn't see a thing when I was running off then. It was slipping off in the front. I didn't want to push it back on again.
Yeah, they've gone on with the wrong kids, the wrong costume. I actually went on the second year at the water without a wig.
I just forgot.
I ran on without it. The change was so hairy.
You know you've not got a wig on now.
I know I haven't got a wig on now. But I'm glad you didn't remind me.
Okay.
Because there is a slight possibility.
Right, let's see if I can do this trick. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
if I know my line.
Is that what you got there?
Yeah, and also just to see how long I've got before I'm next film, because our dress rehearsal was like our first performance. That was like the first time we've done the show, scene to scene, scene with songs in, that was the first time.
Never managed to get into these yet, actually.
Do you have a favourite costume?
The bunny girl, I think, really. No clown. So no gloves again.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Is that the prop, girls? Here, Mum. It looks a bit on the tight side. It's funny you should say that, son. As a matter of fact, I think it's a bit tighter than my skin. What do you mean, tighter than your skin? How can it be tighter than your skin? Well, I can sit down in your skin, but I can't sit down. It's a bit spooky in these woods. And look how dark it's getting.
What a real panto should sell is magic. The power of the belief in that auditorium it's moving actually sometimes, which again sounds a bit ridiculous, but you know, I actually get quite choked sometimes when you hear all this hope. You know, the auditorium's filled with hope. One of the best things this country's got. Abby, would you like to do the honours?
Oh, what a treat! At the end of the show,
We've been, you know, we've been in each other's pockets all these weeks.
Well, I'm
it only
honest,
seems right.
If you ever need undoing, I'll be
This
your
might
boy.
be my undoing.
Yes.
Anne Robinson plays the Wicked Queen. It comes naturally, though, in a Weakest Link pantomime special on Christmas Eve at 10 to 6 over on BBC One.